Oh my gosh. I just think about, like, these cops, like, entering these crime scenes. And just, like, you hear those stories of the cops that enter the crime scene, then immediately leave and go puke. Like, I feel like that. Hi, I'm Skye.
I'm Megan.
And this is Histories, Mysteries, and Conspiracies. Today Megan is here talking about...
the dark history of Edmund Kemper, a.k.a. the co-ed killer.
Oh! That's a good one. Okay, I didn't know what it was beforehand, so maybe I should explain my reaction. But that's exciting. Alright, so take it away. Oh, wait. I like to... well, whenever I ask other people, I'm always like, hey, what do you know about this story? So... I don't know a lot. I just know he's, like, very notorious and a serial killer, and that's all I got. Okay.
All right, so Edmund Kemper was a serial killer and a necrophile. So when I kind of explain what he did, I'm just going to say that he did stuff to the bodies. I'm not going to go in depth with it because it's really gross. Okay. But he murdered a total of 10 people, including his paternal grandparents and his mother. He was nicknamed the co-ed killer because most of his victims were students at co-educational institutions. He also went under the name the co-ed butcher, which he kind of gave himself.
So is a co-ed institute, is that like a college?
I think so, yeah. Okay. That's kind of all it said.
I was going to say, that's a weird thing to call it college, but okay.
Yeah. He was born December 18th, 1948 in California. After living with his abusive mother in Montana, he moved back to California to live with his paternal grandparents. At the age of 15, on August 27th, 1964, he shot his grandmother after an argument. And when his grandfather came home, he shot him as well and hid the body. Afterwards, he called his mother, who told him to call the police, and he later said that he shot his grandmother to see what it felt like, and then shot his grandfather so that he wouldn't have to find out that his wife had been murdered. For his crimes, he was handed over to the California Youth Authority. There he underwent a variety of tests which determined that he actually had a very high IQ, but also suffered from paranoid schizophrenia.
What year was this again?
1964.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. I was like, maybe I misremembered.
Eventually, he was sent to a state hospital, a maximum security facility for mentally ill convicts. Despite his doctor's recommendations, he was released in 1969 at the age of 21 and returned to live with his mom in Santa Cruz. At the time of his release, he stood at 6'9" and weighed 280 pounds and had an IQ of 145. After being released, he surrounded himself with law enforcement friends as he wanted to be a state trooper, but was actually rejected because of his size.
What?
Because he was too big. He was almost 300 pounds.
Still, like 6'9".
Yeah.
He could, like, all these cops are looking like, wow, I just don't see the clues here, and he's, like, towering over them guys that's right there.
Yeah. He began working for the highway department, but that same year he was hit by a car while driving his motorcycle and was badly injured. Unable to work, he turned
ironic.
Yeah. Unable to work, he turned his attention to other pursuits. He began to notice a large number of young women hitchhiking in the area. With the new money from the accident settlement, he bought a new car and tools to fulfill his newfound fantasies. May 7th, 1962, he killed Mary Ann Peace and Anita Lachessa. He picked up the 18-year-old college students and drove them to a secluded wooded area where he smothered, then stabbed Peace to death before fatally stabbing Lachessa. He took pornographic photos of the bodies, dismembered them, and did stuff to the heads before leaving the parts in plastic bags near Loma Prieta Mountain. The heads were found not till August of that year. Then, September 14th of the same year, he picked up the 15-year-old Aiku Ku, who decided to hitchhike after missing the bus to a dance class. She would meet the same fate as the previous two girls.
How old is she?
She was 15.
Oh.
Yeah. January 7th of 1973, he picked up 19-year-old Cindy Schall at a college, drove to a secluded wooded area, and shot her with a .22 pistol. He drove the body to his mother's house, took the bullet, out of her, decapitated her, and put her head in her mother's garden face up because, quote, mother always liked to be looked up to.
What? Okay. So she was dead. He took the bullet out.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm assuming so it couldn't be traced back to him.
Oh, I guess that's something.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Because he knew a lot about, like, being a police officer because he was friends with them.
So, I mean, that's like most serial killers have an in.
Yeah.
Somehow with the police.
Yeah. He then discarded the remains in the river. The severed arms and legs were found a week later. The torsos were found 2 weeks after that. And then a left hand and a pelvis were found later that month.
For that girl?
Yeah.
So they put her head in her mom's garden or his mom's garden?
His mom's garden.
Oh.
Because she liked to be looked up to, is what he said.
Okay. His mom was alive when he did this?
Yep. Yeah.
Gross. Okay.
So then on February 5th, after an argument with his mother, Kemper went to search for more potential victims and found 23 and 24-year-old Rosalind Thorpe and Alice Liu. Right after leaving the university grounds, he shot them, wrapped both their bodies in blankets, did stuff to them, cut them up, then discarded them at a canyon by San Francisco, where they were found a week later.
Were these all in California?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they were all near the Santa Cruz area, which is around the time when it was named the murder capital of the world.
Oh, pleasant.
Yeah.
Great. So he was like just making sure that it, keeps its title.
Because at the time, there were 2 other active serial killers in the area. Okay, so then on Good Friday in 1972, Kemper arrived to his mother's house where another argument broke out. He later attacked her after she went to sleep. He first struck her in the head with a hammer and then cut her throat with a knife. As he had done with his other victims, he decapitated her, but he later used her head as a dartboard. In a later interview, he said he put her head on a shelf and screamed at it for an hour, threw darts at it, and ultimately smashed her face in.
Oh, man.
He then removed her larynx and put it in the garbage disposal. It, however, could not break down the tough vocal cords and ejected the tissue back into the sink. It seemed appropriate, he later said in an interview, as much as she bitched and screamed at me over so many years. He did stuff to her body and then hid it in the closet before going out to drink.
Oh my gosh. I just think about like these cops like entering these crime scenes and just like you hear those stories of the cops that enter the crime scene then immediately leave and go puke. Like I feel like that would have been one.
Yeah, just walking into the kitchen and there's just a larynx in the...
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And then a head that was used as a dartboard and then with then smashed in.
Just sitting on a shelf.
Nope. Yeah. No, thank you.
Then he went out to drink. When he came back, he invited his mother's best friend over to his mother's house, Sari Hallett. He invited her over for dinner. When she arrived, he strangled her to death, decapitated the body, and spent the night with her corpse.
So did he decapitate everybody?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay. It's like I see a trend.
Yeah. The next morning, he put her body in the closet and left a note for the police. It read, approximately 1:15 a.m. Saturday. No need for her to suffer anymore at the hands of this horrible, murderous butcher. It was quick, asleep, the way I wanted it. Not sloppy and incomplete, gents. Just a lack of time. I got things to do. After leaving the house, he drove nonstop to Colorado. After not hearing any news on the radio of the murders, he found a phone booth and called the police to confess to the murders. The police at first did not take his call seriously and told him to call back later. Several hours later, he called a police officer that he personally knew and confessed to the double murder. He then waited for the police to arrive to take him into custody, where he confessed to the murders of the 6 students.
Okay, what kind of 911 or police operator person, I don't even know if they had 911 at this time, I don't think so. What kind of police operator, while working in the murder capital, is gonna like, yeah, I murdered this person. Yeah, right, it's really funny.
Yeah, he probably explained the most absurd details of it all.
And then I used it as a dartboard, her head as a dartboard, and they're like, yeah, sounds fake, but okay.
Yeah, and he seems pretty crazy, so she was probably like, yeah, no, I don't believe any of this.
That person probably got fired immediately.
Yeah. When asked why he turned himself in, Kemper said, "The original purpose was gone. It wasn't serving any physical or real or emotional purpose. It was just a pure waste of time. Emotionally, I couldn't handle it much longer. Towards the end there, I started feeling the folly of the whole damn thing, and at the point of near exhaustion, near collapse, I just said to hell with it and called it all off." Kemper was indicted for 8 counts of first-degree murder. He pled not guilty by reason of insanity to all the charges, but 3 court-appointed psychiatrists found him legally sane. Twice during the trial, while in custody, he tried to commit suicide, but survived the attempts. The jury took 5 hours to declare him sane and guilty on all counts. He asked for the death penalty, requesting death by torture. However, he instead received 7 years to life for each count to be served in the California medical facility where he still remains.
So he's still alive?
Yeah. He's had hearings to be released on parole every, I think, 7 years since 1975.
Why, though?
Yeah, they've all been denied.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah. His next one's in, 2025.
Oh, so he must have just had one then.
2017.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So not too long ago. Okay. So why did you choose Ed Kemper to do your story on?
I texted a friend who listens to a lot of serial killer podcasts and just asked him who the most interesting one he'd heard was. And this is who he said.
There's a show on Netflix, Mindhunter. It's about, the FBI. It's based on true stuff, but it's about, the early FBI looking into the, psychological stuff of killers and serial killers, and, Ed Kemper is one of their subjects that they have on it. But it's fictional type of thing. It's, not fictional. The content itself is true, but it's not, documentary style.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? It's scripted. It's hard to explain. I'm not good at these things. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Yeah, Ed Kemper is an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is part of, because once, people kill their family, when the serial killers kill their family members, it gets, weird. Crosses, a line, I guess.
I think usually most serial killers, though, they kill, their first kill is someone in their family or a close friend. Because they start where they're comfortable. Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about him. Do you have any other final thoughts on Ed Kemper?
He was a sick dude.
He is a sick dude. He's still out.
Yeah.
Well, not out there, but he's still alive. And he requested to be death by torture, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Yep.
Is he one of those weird people who, I don't know if have you seen Seven?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I was going to say, is he the bad guy in Seven where he does all these horrible things, but he's also I know I'm a terrible person and I just need to die and I need to be punished,
Yeah, I mean, I assume so, since he tried to kill himself twice during the trial. It could either be that or just that he didn't want to have to deal with
being in prison forever because he knew he would be.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can wrap this up. You like serial killers, though, don't you? You're interested in them?
Oh, yes.
I don't know. Is it a weird question to ask who's your favorite serial killer? I guess, who is the serial killer you're most interested in? Or
at the moment, Ted Bundy, just because
all the hype and that stuff.
I'm so excited for that movie to come out.
Okay, while we're on the topic of Ted Bundy, I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
And I asked my friend Kelly about this yesterday. So there's this whole controversy regarding it because Zac Efron's hot. No one's denying that.
Uh-huh.
And he's charming, and that's part of the movie is that they're stop sexualizing and romanticizing Ted Bundy. Yeah. He was a serial killer. But then there's another group that's saying well, that's the point. It's the thing is that he didn't seem like a threat. He seemed like somebody you could trust, charming, all this attractive man, all this stuff. So it's it makes you uncomfortable because he is a serial killer, but it's also the point.
If it makes you uncomfortable, it's because you're not interested in serial killers. This is for the people who are listen to these dark
and it's
documentaries, and
this is how it is. And it's No, it's like the point is that like it's not safe. Like it could be your neighbor.
Yeah,
It could be like your best friend. You don't know.
Yeah, I saw someone that said Ted Bundy was the kind of guy that a dad would want his daughter to date.
Yeah,
that was his
it's like
personality.
That's what he comes across as.
Yeah,
and it's the whole idea that it's like that gets like all cocky, like I can't get caught, like I'm untouchable, and like I'm like just a lot of pride and like being like cockiness and arrogance, I guess.
In a charming way still.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and they talk about on My Favorite Murder a lot, but it's just like basically making a person feel like they're like the center of attention in like the room, and the whole world revolves around them. But the reality is like that killer, that's how they feel about themselves. It's like the world, it's like they are untouchable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see a little bit of that with Ed Kemper. So if you want to, I don't even know what I'm going to say. Oh, so if you haven't followed on social media, go ahead and do that. There's Twitter, which is at podcast HMCT. Instagram, which is at HMCT Podcast. And there's also a website, which is historiesmysteriesconspiracies.com for more show notes and bonus content. I think that's everything. Okay, yeah. So, be your weird self.
Goodbye.